Some memories, they just hurt so much, even after all the years have passed. I'd rather stick with the present. Tell me about yourself. And Dorian, what's life like in Landview?
It's haunted.
Beg pardon?
Mother seems to be stuck in this permanent emotional crisis. And Mel and I are convinced that family history may be a part of it. Maybe the actual cause or a contributing factor. We just don't understand what the connection is.
So this is a little more than a who were my grandparents visit.
Yes.
As Cassie said, we didn't want to distress you, but you're really the only dependable link we have to Dorian's past. The stories we've heard from Melinda and Addie are sketchy at best and wildly contradictory.
You've spoken with them?
Yes, and they've seen each other just this past week. Will you help us, please?
Of course I will. What would you like to know?
Everything. Anything.
You mentioned a moment ago how radically the birth of the three girls changed things for Lou and Sonya. Could you possibly tell us why?
Your grandmother loved her daughters as deeply as she did her music and her husband. But they were difficult children.
In what way?
They had the same fiery temperament Sonya did. A kind of savage, creative energy that made them as hard to manage as a barrel of bobcats.
Did the girls get along with one another?
Just barely. I've never seen sisters so competitive as those three girls. And the worst of the bunch by far was Dorian.
I certainly cannot explain these test results. Unless, of course, there was a lab error.
We just about worked twice on our own lab. Yep, the data's solid.
Just doesn't make any sense. Well, I don't have the answer. After all, my mother was with her family, people who love her. And no one who really loves her will let her go without her medication, much less deliberately keep it from her. In fact, that's a little too cruel to even imagine. Do you think there will be any long-term damage from this?
Physically, no. She's already responding well to the reintroduced medication. But I think her self-confidence has already been badly shaken.
Well, it has been rough on all of us. I think that we asked too much of Melinda, and we won't make that mistake again.
It wasn't a mistake. For Melinda to do as well as she did in an extremely harrowing situation is actually a very promising sign.
And is there some good news?
And there's more. Once we've helped Melinda put this trauma of the last few weeks behind her, my suggestion is that she gets right back on the horse that threw her.
You mean come back to Landview?
At some point, with the proper safeguards in place, yes.
Can we see my mother, please?
Of course. I'll bring her to you.
Thank you, Doctor. I just don't understand how this could have happened. Don't you? Just what do you mean by that little question? Well, I'm just echoing what you said. That you don't know how such an unbelievably strange thing could happen to my mother. And I don't. I mean, your mother took her medication like clockwork when she came to Landview. Of course, I did have to step in once she started to change. But she got shaky and vulnerable. Yes. Shaky and vulnerable because you barely let her breathe. Forget the chance of ever being alone with anyone. Kelly, I was trying to protect her. Oh, that's right. I forgot that part. One of the reasons I started to supervise her so much is I wanted to make sure that she was taking her medication. Well, even as it was, she was somehow managing to pretend she was swallowing the capsules. she do that? Maybe because she resented being supervised. She needed to rebel. Or perhaps because, yes, she was feeling so good that she convinced herself she didn't need the medication. When I came here, the first time, my mother sat on that bed. And all but thank God for the medication she was on. Because after being in the dark for so many years, she finally felt that she was coming alive. And she knew that. It was that medication that kept her stable. There's no way in hell she would have stopped taking those pills on her own. How could you possibly think such a thing of me? Who would do such a heinous thing? Somebody very sick.
I always thought that Addie was the most difficult.
Not by the end.
What do you mean the end?
Here. Let me take her over here. See, Agatha was so unpredictable. One day she'd be nice as pie, and the next she'd fly into a rage. Usually it's Dorian.
What would she do to Mother?
Oh, whole string of terrible things. She tore up Dorian's dresses. She ripped pages out of her storybooks. Even attacked her with a pair of scissors.
Well, I've heard about that.
Did you know about the well house?
The well house, no.
Agatha pitched a fit and locked Dorian in the old well house out past the barn and left her there. Dorian was trapped in a cold, black space no bigger than a car trunk for a day and a half.
Dear God.
Sonya and Lou were near crazy with worry. They called out the state police, who were ready to drag the lake before I finally found Dorian.
Was Addie punished?
Well, you might say that. She was sent for psychiatric evaluation, and she was committed to the state mental hospital that very day.
Excuse me. I understood that Dorian and Melinda were told that Addie had died.
Oh, that was the mistake of a young, heartbroken mother. But it gives you some idea of how hard Sonya took it. She could barely get through the days.
And in the wake of that?
Sonya became closer and closer to Melinda.
Not my mother.
Melinda had the gift. Music. Dorian didn't. Oh, if you could have seen the joy on Sonia's face, knowing the magic was in Melinda's fingers, just like it was in hers. Oh, it ate at Dorian like acid. For a long time, it seemed like there was nothing in the family but Dorian's jealousy. She used to torment Melinda.
In what way?
Oh, you must have heard about the riding accident.
The horse race that Mother challenged Melinda to. Melinda fell and she got hurt.
Melinda wasn't hurt. She was destroyed. So was his family.